Welcome back. For the kiddos back in school and trying to readjust to that busy work and school schedule, it's easy to just throw a bunch of junk food into your child's lunchbox, but it doesn't have to be that way. So for more on that, we've got Trish Brimhall. She's joining us with Nutritious Intent to talk a little bit about making a healthy lunch for the kiddos that they will actually eat.
One of the things that we don't think about, because we may have created this picture perfect, Mother of the Year award school lunch. But the kids go to school and it goes in the trash or it's traded away. 50% of food gets tossed in a school lunch cafeteria.
Which is so heartbreaking to hear.
It really is. It really is. So taking a look and saying, all right, first it needs to start with a conversation. Not necessarily with a shopping trip, but start with your kids and say, okay, what is it that you like? What are you eating? What are you tossing? Why are you tossing it? Another thing to consider is the whole eating experience and what kids are feeling in that cafeteria. Over half of the kids are going to be either exposed to or involved in food shaming, weight shaming, fear of weight issues, all this kind of things at an elementary school level these days. So it can be a complicated place to eat.
I've never heard that before. What is food shaming?
Food shaming, so oftentimes that goes hand in hand with some of the weight shaming, like, are you going to eat that? Or should you? Or I can't believe you're having, you know what I mean? Or even demeaning food by saying good or bad or any of that kind of stuff that then sort of transfers that emotion to the kid themselves. This food is bad. I'm bad for eating it. That kind of idea.
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
So sitting down and saying with your kiddos, what are you eating and why? What are you throwing away and why? And then you can come up with a plan to say, all right, what is going to be workable at school?
So let's talk about some of the options that you can throw out there, because some kids may just say, well, I love candy bars. So what do you do when your kid doesn't like any of the traditional healthy items?
Think outside the box and involve them in the planning, because if you can invest them in the process, they're more likely to eat it. It doesn't necessarily have to be a sandwich and carrot sticks and an apple or whatever the traditional picture in your head is. Think, okay, a grain, a protein, and some produce. All right? So that could be, one of my favorite whole grains is popcorn.
I'm on board for that too.
Popcorn, crackers, any other kind of thing that you say, you know, they really like this, but the sandwich either is too big or they don't like the bread or whatever it is. Involve them in the process. For protein, it could be jerky, it could be yogurt, it could be cheese, it could be nuts or seeds, anything like that. It doesn't necessarily have to be ham and cheese on whole wheat bread.
Kind of thinking outside of the box to make sure that they are eating something good.
Staying flexible. It doesn't necessarily mean it has to be a whole apple. It could be, you know what, I throw my apple away every day, Mom, but I eat my applesauce. Okay, there we go. Now we at least have an idea. Maybe they would eat the dried fruit and not the fresh, or vice versa.
That's so interesting. So let's talk a little bit about after-school snacks. I know a lot of kids come home, maybe we don't have time to make them a nice little snack. So what can you do? And
this is where it becomes critical to pay attention to the snacks, because I think sometimes we're like, oh, it's not a meal, I don't have to pay attention.
Right.
But kids 2 to 18, 40% of their energy intake is coming from sort of the fun foods, the sweetened beverages, the desserts, the snack, the process, that kind of thing. So being a little bit more intentional and saying, you know what, great, you want whatever it is, you want the toaster waffles, let's have some produce with it. I say go with at least 2 food groups, making one a plant. Fruit or veggie, and then pair that with either a grain or a protein or something like that. And those fun foods are great as an occasional thing, but they should play the cameo role, not the leading role in your kids' routines. And kind of sneak in those healthy foods as well, which is something I do sometimes with my meals too. Can we sneak in some broccoli or whatever? Exactly. Find a way to say, you know what is it that you love? You love the peanut butter? Great, let's have the peanut butter with some apple slices. So that you say, can we come up with an edible spoon for the dip? Interesting. I like that. Yeah. Do you have any other tips before we go? Water. Water. Plain water. So much of the time, I feel like there's so much sweetened and flavored going on that we're losing the skill of drinking plain water. So start with your kids, teach and encourage them to drink plain, unflavored water. Wonderful. All right, Trish Brimhall, thank you so much for joining us. You bet. All right, and remember, you can get more information online on her social media. You can see that right there. We also have a link on our website at abc4.com. Coming up, hearing more from the